Hello, cats and kittens. We are live, and welcome to another stream today. Wasn't I bet you weren't expecting another stream from me today? Well, this is my first collab with Joe Mail. We're going to be doing our top 10 horror films of all time. But all time could mean it could change at any time because I know Joe's had that about Beatles songs and stuff. Oh, I got to mute that.
I'm good.
Okay, there we go. All right. So I hope we're going to have a good time, and feel free to put in the comments after the show, like after you want to give comments about this stream, and give us your top 10 horror films, like from 10 going up to the new one.
Mm.
Oh, Jen's here. Hello, Jen.
I
Nice to
wish I
see
could
you.
see the comments, folks. I'm sorry for some reason. I don't know why I'm in private. I can't get to public, but it's okay. Hello, Jen, if you're there.
Yeah, Jen's there. Or maybe YouTube's still having their issues like it was yesterday. Who knows? Because I can't see her actual logo, her avatar. But anyway, all right, I'm getting
Okay.
ahead of myself here. So we're going to do our top 10, and Joe is going to start with his number 10, and I'm going to make him big, and we'll get this show started. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, Joe, you're up.
All right. Well, needless to, first of all, thank you for having me,
You're
James.
welcome.
And I tell you, I'm going to not talk too long about things, but of course, it was hard to come up with 10 because I like so many. So I think everything's represented here in what I like. But I'm going to cheat just a little bit here. I'll get to it. First of all, this would have been in here, but I didn't include it in here. Jaws, because I don't consider it a horror movie. It's got horror elements, so I didn't put it in here. Otherwise, it would have been. And I would have liked to put it The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, which is one of my favorite films of all time. But that's also science fiction. And one last one. And in my list does not have The Exorcist in it. I'd almost made the list. This is one of the greatest horror films ever. You would have thought I'd put it in. The reason I didn't put it in was only because oops, sorry. Only because I think it's a little played out for me. It kind of lost a little because I've seen it 100 times. That's it. Now I got a few shots in there. So now let me start with the movie. Number 10, I'm a fan of the Hammer horror films and the British Hammer Studios. And of course, James had said we could make a whole series count as one.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the Hammer horror series as a whole thing for number 10, but the probably my favorite film of the Hammer horror films is this Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, starring Peter Cushing as Baron Frankenstein, who's completely insane and mad more than usual here, and a nut job in here. And that's the one of the reasons why I love this movie so much.
Ah, all right. I'll make you small. That's my turn. Okay. Hey, Penny Lane. Hey, everybody that just popped into the chat. Now it's my number 10. All right. It's going to be a little different from yours, but okay. My number 10 is The Conjuring.
Mm.
This movie scared the living bejesus out of me. Like the scene where Mackenzie Foy is bumping her head on that closet, and then you look above and you see that ghost of that woman
I've
with
never
that
seen it.
creepy smile. Oh, just gives me the heebie jeebies every time. But this movie is based on a true story.
Okay.
And you get your first glimpse of the doll Annabelle in this film, which was made into a film later on as a
Yes.
spin-off series kind of thing. So The Conjuring is my number 10, and I highly recommend this film if you have not seen it. Number 1 and 2 are good, but 3 is like mediocre. And don't watch The Nun because The Nun is crap.
Well, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard of Annabelle and even The Conjuring. I think I might have The Conjuring. I just bought with a stack of used movies. I might have it.
Hey, zombie. And now, number 9. Number 9.
Wrong chat, right?
Yeah,
Beatles.
I had to
Uh,
do it.
okay, no, number nine. Number nine. I picked a British film again. It's another British film, and it's
Ooh.
called. Oh, sorry, Night of the Demon. This is the longer version. That's a British cut. It was known in the United States as Curse of the Demon, slightly shorter. This one is the preferred one. It just has to do with an occult. leader, a cult leader who's like into the occult, and he can summon up demons. And he kind of is being pestered by Dana Andrews, who plays an American that goes to England, and he's a writer who's written novels to debunk witchcraft. He doesn't believe in the occult, doesn't believe in witchcraft, and he's going to expose this guy for a fraud because he doesn't believe in anything, and all kinds of things happen. This is a very effective movie. It usually gets a lot of good attention as one of the greatest, and I agree. Night of the Demon, not to be confused with. I think there's a film later on called Night of the Demons,
Yeah.
but it's not that film. So that's it.
All right. Oh, this is great. My co-host is here, Dave. Hello, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy you're
Hello.
here. And now my number 9 is, I almost removed myself from the stage here. I don't want to do that. So mine is A Quiet Place. This movie is really, really scary. So, and actually, one of the actresses who plays her daughter in this film is actually deaf. So there's a lot of subtitles in this film because they have to be quiet. If they make the slightest little noise, these alien creatures are going to come and kill them. And the John Krasinski, who plays her husband in the film, he also directed the film. And this movie is really, really good. And I'm going to just say one scene that really makes you almost crap your pants is when she's giving birth in a bathtub and she's trying not to scream as the baby's coming out because the creatures are near, and you know what's going to happen if there's too much noise. They're sitting ducks. But this movie is fantastic. If you have not seen A Quiet Place, I highly recommend it. So that's my number 9.
Okay.
All right. Now let's switch you over. So now we're down to 8.
Okay.
All right, your turn.
And I should definitely be giving the years for these. I think I forgot the years in the first two. Let's say this. The film I'm going to show you now is easily to be considered one of the worst films ever made. It's a film that everybody, critics, would crap on and stuff. It's not a good movie in that sense, but in the cheesy sense, if you like cheesy grade B or C or D or Z movies from the 1950s, I get the 1950s represented here. I like all kinds of movies, like I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Well, anyway, this is one of my favorite, so bad it's good 50s movies. 1958. It's called Frankenstein's Daughter.
Oh my God, I remember that one.
What can I say about it? The monster is weird looking. It's supposed to be a female monster, but they used a guy because the makeup man didn't know it. So they had this guy like dressed up as a Frankenstein type monster, and they said it's supposed to be a woman. So he took lipstick and put it on the monster, and that's supposed to be a female monster, And it's a lot of fun. It's got rock and roll, a couple of cheesy rock and roll songs in here from the
Hello,
50s.
Jorgen.
It's exactly the kind of movie that is not a great movie, but you have just fun with it. And yeah, that's all. It's got everything I like in a monster movie: a monster running around, laboratory scenes, and stuff like that. And it takes place in the modern 1950s. It's not gothic. It could be in your own basement or down your own street that this is happening. That's why I love Frankenstein's Daughter.
All right. So that's number 8. Now my number 8. Okay. Let's make me big now. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where I get into the franchise a little bit. Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
This is the remake, and the remake's actually pretty good for a remake. I thought it was pretty decent, but you know what? You can't go wrong with the original Pet Sematary from 1989. I just absolutely think this film is so well done, and I think it's one of Stephen King's really scariest novels because I've read it, and I thought it was really well done. And I think Ed Gwynn is in there.
Fred
if I'm
Gwynn.
not mistaken. Huh?
Fred Gwynn, Herman Munster.
Oh yeah, Fred Gwynn.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. He plays the neighbor, and I really think the original is the best. but the sequel's pretty good, and it's got a different ending to it,
Hmm.
and it's a little shorter, but this one's longer. But the original Pet Cemetery, and it comes as a double feature pack. So this is the original,
Hmm.
and here's the remake. I like the cover for this one too. It's pretty cool. So that's my number eight.
All
Um,
right.
so we'll move on to number seven now. If I can get myself down here. All right.
Okay, let's see. Number seven. Well, this is where I get the slasher genre in here. You know, the
All right.
'80s slashers. There's so many things. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. My favorite slasher film is characters Jason from the Friday the 13th series. I love the Friday the 13th series. I saw every one of them in the movie theater when they first came out. Every one of them except for the first one. I didn't see the first, but with part two all the way up to the present day, I've seen every one of them in the movie theater. Now, so I'm counting the whole series, as we say, as as one vote. Although I'm going to say my two favorites from all of them are the fourth one in the series. At the time, it was going to be the last. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. It was intended to. It wasn't. They weren't lying to you. They really did think this was going to be the last one, but it made so much money that they had to make more. And by the time we got to part six, Jason Lives. Friday the 13th, part six, Jason Lives. They brought him back again as a zombie. And this one, he's like a human being, crazy, super strong human being, man child that goes after teenagers and hates them, kills them in a
Hey,
variety of
Lammy.
different ways. Yes. By this time, rejuvenated as a zombie when lightning hits him in the grave, and there you go. Friday the 13th. I just loved. I mean, that's when I let my hair down. I always prefer older movies, like the old black and white classic kind of things, but occasionally I'm in for a good slasher gore film, and I love Friday the 13th.
No. So now we go on to number six. Okay.
You still have to show your seven, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Number seven. My bad. Uh, yes, it's really good to have the stream working today, Lamb. This is my friend Joe. And Joe, this is the Lamb I was telling you about. He's a musician from Cardiff, Wales, so I'll be in his stream next. All
Okay.
right, it's my turn. Okay, so now mine. We were talking about Dracula yesterday, but
Yes.
this is Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman as Dracula. Because I
Mm.
have a major crush on Winona Ryder, and
Me too.
I think this movie was really well done. It's a great remake of a classic, but I'd like to find the Bela Lugosi one. I've seen it as a single disc, but I don't like the cover on it. I didn't like the
Okay.
cover; it looked ugly. So eventually, I'll get a good one. But they're so bloody expensive. Yep. So this movie, I highly recommend it, and Anthony Hopkins is great in it. Keanu Reeves before he did all the Matrix films and John Wick. This is from 1992, I think. Yeah, 1992. And I really love this movie so much. So I highly recommend
Wow.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. So now what are we on? Now we're up to six now.
Now we're up to six. And by the way, I won't give you my opinion of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I respect yours, but I'm
Okay.
not a fan of it. But
All right.
I do. I like Winona Ryder.
Oh
I'm
wait,
glad
I
she
just
was in there.
gotta see what Lamb has to say. Going to be a fun one, Halloween special. Although I'm battling a virus, which is going to make it a bit rough, but I'm not giving in. I just had a little bit of vodka there, Lamb. You should be okay.
All right. So we're up to number six, and I'm feeling like all these obscure older movies I'm showing. But hey, now I'll say I love the older movies. I'm a Boris Karloff fanatic. I'm a Bela Lugosi fanatic. Those are my favorite guys in the genre. But Boris Karloff should have got an Academy Award for this. It's one of his best roles. It's from 1945, and it don't get this confused with the science fiction film, but it's called. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of glare here. The Body Snatcher. It's not Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a science fiction film. This is
Yeah.
a horror film. It's black and white. He gives a great performance as a grave robber, and he has all kinds of run-ins with a medical doctor that requires his services for bodies and everything, and they have a great rapport, kind of a hate relationship, and the history goes back very far. And yeah, it's creepy. This is in a series of films called the Val Lewton films. Val Lewton made a lot of horror films in the 40s that were very subtle, and you didn't see a lot of gruesomeness or anything. Quite opposite from the Friday the 13th I just showed. And lastly, this film has Bela Lugosi. His name's there in the bottom in a supporting role. He doesn't have a lot of scenes in it, but he has a great scene with Karloff where they square off together, so to speak. So yeah, I really highly recommend for people who love older movies, The Body Snatcher. Don't buy the Invasion of the Body Snatcher science fiction movie.
No.
Don't get it mixed up. And that's that.
All right. So now it's mine. Okay, here we go. Uh, what number is that?
Okay, that was 6.
Okay, so number 6 for me. All right. So now we're going back into another franchise. So I have to do the rhyme for this before I show it. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. Here we go.
There you go.
Nightmare on Elm Street collection. I like all of them. I like the first one scared the bejesus out of me when I was in high school, and the second one was okay, but the third one, the first and the third are my favorite. The Dream Warriors.
Yeah, mine too.
I like that one, but every one of them I thought brought something to the table. I thought they were all pretty decent and funny and cool. And it also has Wes Craven's New Nightmare in this box set. Well, let me open and show you inside it.
Okay.
So you can see. So Nightmare on Elm Street gets its own thing. You won't really see it, but just to give you an idea. Then you get on disc number 2. I'll have to read it to you because it's easier for me to see it from this angle. So you got Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and 3 on one disc. 4 and 5 on the next one. Then on this one you get Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and then you get bonus features, and you also get two episodes from the series Freddy's Nightmares, which I think is pretty cool. So that's my number 6, Nightmare on Elm Street series. All right, and now it's your turn. Okay, oops, I almost hit the wrong button there. You're muted.
Yeah, I just recently got that box set of Elm Street, and I've seen them all, but it's been a long time. I know 1 and 3 are my 2 favorites. But I got to give them another. I'll go through all the series on my channel, which is called Mayo's Offbeat Movies. So check out Mayo's Offbeat Movies if you like horror and science fiction. But I'm just noticing, I just realized, James, up from the beginning, I could have monitored this on my phone to see the comments, because the comments I can't see here, but I see them here. So that's good. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I didn't see you all before. Okay. All right.
There you go.
So now we're up to number 5. This is the top 5. As I say, it's hard for me to put these in order, but we're going to stick with the oldies. This is probably the oldest film I have on here right now. And there are many versions of this made. Robert Louis Stevenson's classic, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He always liked to pronounce it Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But this version is the 1931 version with Frederick March, who is the only monster, I believe, to receive an Academy Award for his performance at that time. They don't usually give awards to monsters. He plays both roles. The thing about this is it's pre-code. It was before they had the code where they had to watch too much violence or nudity. So there's a little bit, nothing major, but a little bit of suggestive nudity in here. Miriam Hopkins plays a prostitute. And she's wonderful in this, and she's kind of taken prisoner by Mr. Hyde. The thing I'll say about this is, even though it's old, I believe this still retains a power to horrify and shock. The scenes with when Mr. Hyde winds up, as I say, kind of like taking ownership of this prostitute and not letting her leave, and comes back to keep on haunting her and bother, in his place. Uh, Make like a virtual hostage of her. It's pretty spooky scenes. So yeah, I love this movie. Yeah, it's my number five.
Wow, that's cool. So now we go to my number five, which will be different from yours. All right, now, okay, you did this before, so now it's my turn to go to another franchise again. Friday the
Hey,
13th.
that's first one we really have together, right? I think.
Yeah, 8 movie collection. I think the first 8 are my favorites. 9 and 10 were kind of mediocre to me,
Yeah.
but these are the best. So I'll show you all the discs in here. Number 1 is the uncut version. Then we get part 2. And then we get part 3. Part 4, the final chapter, which I like too, where Corey Feldman's in there.
Yeah.
And then we get part 5 and 6, Jason Lives. A New Beginning is the other one first. And then you get part 7, The New Blood, and then Jason Goes to Manhattan. I like that one. That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, too. But if everybody complains about it, which is true, that they call it Jason Takes Manhattan, but they don't have much out of the whole movie. Like the last half hour or 40 minutes is in Manhattan or something.
Yeah.
And then they had to use Vancouver. They filmed a little in Manhattan, but they had to film most of it in Vancouver, pretending it was Manhattan. So,
Uh,
all right, but yeah, I like it. All right, so now we're up to number 4, right? Okay,
yeah.
number 4. This is a classic. This is one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. I think it still holds up. When I first saw it, it was disturbing. Horror movies I never found really that scary for me or disturbing so much. They just were like something that was cool, kind of like an escape from reality, thrillers. But this one really is disturbing, and it's a classic, and it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from
Oh, yes.
1974. Um, you don't see as much, for those who haven't seen this, you don't see a lot of gore that you think you might be seeing by the title. But it is disturbing, it is twisted, it is upsetting in a lot of ways if you've never seen it, and it works. It's just a classic. What else can I say about it? Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well,
Number
there is a
four.
gory
Four.
scene in it
Well,
where they
let's
put the girl on the meat hook.
Yes, but if you notice, well, I don't want to spoil for it, but the way they shoot it though, you don't. You'll see if you see what I mean. You don't really see like any blood of that part, I don't think. But anyway, it's very disturbing. They put her on a meat hook, is right, sort of
All
the
right.
way they filmed it.
All right. My number 4. I don't know if anybody of you might have heard of this film, but I think it's a Canadian production, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a very, very, very good, and also kind of an emotional werewolf film. And it's not American Werewolf in London. No, no. This is called Ginger Snaps
Oh, I've heard of it for sure. I've never
with
seen it though.
Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins. That's Catherine Isabel, who's pretty hot. Emily Perkins, and it's about these two sisters, and they're out one night, and her sister Catherine Isabel gets mangled by a werewolf, but she survives it, and then you see her going through the process of changing. And The music in this movie is very haunting and beautiful, and you see their relationship. But it takes a twisted turn near the end. But I'm not going to say what happens because you have
Yeah.
to see the film. And this movie is really, really good. And it stars also Chris Lamesh and Mimi Rogers. So Ginger Snaps. If you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you watch it. There's sequels. There's part 2 and 3, which I also have on DVD, but they're not as good as the original one. But if you're going to watch it, watch this one because this is the best one.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
All right. Okay, exit layout. Now we go back to you. Now we're down to 3. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, Christopher.
For number three, I'm going to go with a movie from 1960. It's in black and white. Has Christopher Lee in it, who's famous for Hammer Films. I used to caught this on TV when I was a youngster. This one was kind of scary. I said I wasn't really scared. This has scary moments in it. It's called Horror Hotel, but the that's the Americanized title. This is the way I grew up with it. The way you really want to see it is in the cut. I also have another Blu-ray of it now called City of the Dead. The real name of this movie is City of the Dead. Horror Hotel was the Americanized title, which I grew up with. That's why I'm showing this one. And it's about a student who is interested in witchcraft, and she goes into the city of Whitewood, Massachusetts, where a witch was named Elizabeth Selwyn was burned at the stake in 1692. Unbeknownst to her, she's still alive. So are her minions, and they're actually setting up shop in this really cool, deserted-looking city with fog and all the atmosphere. It's very atmospheric. It's got scary moments in here. It's got dungeons. It's got and she doesn't realize that this person is still alive. The young student doesn't realize it, and she's the innkeeper. The hotel she's staying at, the inn. She's it's the witch under another alias. So yeah, this is definitely worth a watch, and it's to me it's one of the best horror films ever made. Another British film, Horror Hotel.
All right. Now, now for my number three is another vampire film. Now this is a remake of a foreign horror film vampire film called Let the Right One In, which is fantastic. If you don't mind watching subtitles a lot.
Right.
And when this one came out in the theater, I was a little nervous about it because I wasn't sure if it was going to live up to my expectations, if it was going to be any good like the original one was. But I was pleasantly surprised. I went with my cousin Glenn and we saw this in the theater together, but he hadn't seen the original foreign film. But he I was surprised even he liked it. So this one's called Let Me In, starring don't you just love that cover? Isn't that cool? And
Nice
it
cover.
slides off like this,
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
and it's got Kit Smith McPhee, Richard Jenkins, and Chloe Grace Moretz. And she's a vampire, and it's about this boy who's bullied, and he meets her in the apartment building, but he only notices she comes out at night, but he doesn't realize that it's just, how old are you? Says, I'm not human. And that's all I'm going to say. But you have to see this film. This movie blew my mind. I was like, wow. So it's called Let the Right One Let Me In. And here's the actual art. I like that.
I've heard the first title, the other film. That one I've
Yeah,
heard.
but Joe, if you get a chance, watch the original one and then watch this one because they're both fantastic. And it just slides over like that. I love this. I love this cover.
That's nice. It's a nice cover. Usually I don't care for slip covers as much, but that's a good one.
But this one wasn't cheap. I'll tell you that much. I forget what I paid for this. I was still working at Blockbuster at the time, so I got a discount. But it was bloody expensive. But it was the only copy they had left, so I said I have to buy it. I love it.
Hmm.
But I want to find the other one. I only had a burnt copy of the original, but I hope to find it one day on Blu-ray if it's not too expensive. That is.
Yeah.
So that's my number three. Now we're going down to two. Ooh, I wonder what our number ones are going to be.
Yeah. Wait till the mine. It's weird, but anyway, number two, another horror movie classic. Some people say they don't really think it's all that. I think it's very scary. If I talk about it, you might know what it is. Some of you. It's very effective, very scary and intense and disturbing without showing much. It's another one of those movies. It's more psychological. It's a classic, 1968, and it's
Ah,
Rosemary's Baby. Mia Farrow playing a housewife who moves into the Dakota apartment buildings where John Lennon lived. And unbeknownst to her, her neighbors are witches, and they still, they do witchcraft, and they want her baby as the baby of the devil. Want to kind of have her impregnated by Satan and all this. And what goes on in here is the weirdest thing to me about it is that as the film goes on, she's the one that starts to suspect what's going on with her. Nobody believes her, thinks she's crazy. But everybody, her husband, her neighbors, her friends, her doctor, everybody's in on it. That's the scary part. Everybody's in on it, and they were all like evil and setting her up. And it just one of the most perfect films to me. Very few films you can say are perfect movies. There's always imperfections. This one, I think, is one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen. And it, to me, very, as I say, not to repeat myself, but very strong and effective without showing you a lot of stuff. It's just like, can you imagine if you're the only sane one and everybody around you is using you for devil's meat? It's just really unsettling. So, yeah, this is supposed to be coming out on a new disc on 4K or something, which I
It's
don't
already
care.
out on
Oh,
4K.
it is? Yeah, I don't really care about that personally, but yep, there you go.
All right. So that's your number two?
Yep.
All right. So now my number two is another franchise.
Directed by Roman Polanski, I should have said. It's very
Yeah,
important to say that.
true. All right. So now we go to my number two. And this is a franchise. Normally, I have a big fear of clowns. Clowns are scary. They freak me out. They've always have since I was a kid. But I can tolerate this one a little bit. There was one that was made in 1990 for TV with Tim Curry. I think you know what this is, Joe.
Oh,
But this one was done in the. This one had a first movie and a second one that was in the theater. So, It
yes, of course.
number one and two, and I thought both of these were fantastic. Even though I have a fear of clowns, I was able to get through this. So I thought this was very good. They're very good films. The first movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes, and the second one is 2 hours and 49 minutes. And both of them are really, really good. So I'll show you the inside. I'll show you the back here. You want to see that? All right, there we go. So just the plain cover for the disc, but that's okay. So now, I highly recommend if you haven't seen these, if I can get it back in a second.
Unless you're terrified of clowns. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to show me something that's going to freak me out?
No. Believe me, this is tame stuff I'm going to show you.
Okay, all right, so It. Yeah. All right, so I'll make myself small, and now we go to our number one. Ooh, this is
Although
exciting.
this has nothing to do with this, but if you are, you say, well, am I going to show something that's going to freak you out? If you are afraid of clowns, I suggest this new series, Terrifier.
I want to see that. I heard it was really good.
It's this is not my pick, by the way. No, it's not on my top
Okay.
1,000 list. But this guy Art the Clown is. I mean, this is like some of the most depraved, disgusting, mindless gore slasher, bloody nonsense we'll ever see. But that
Wow.
guy's That guy's creepy. Is why I'm showing you that. All right, now just to show you that I like all this kind of stuff. All right, my number one, which is what we're up to, right? Number one, I'm so glad, James, that you allowed us in a way to do a whole series because I would never be able to pick just one. My favorite movies of all time, my favorite series of all time, my favorite movies of all time of any genre are the old Universal Studios monster classics in black and white from the 30s to the 40s. We're talking about starting with Bela Lugosi as Dracula, Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, and all the sequels: Dracula's Daughter, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, The House of Frankenstein, Son of Dracula, The Black Cat, The Raven, Creature from the Black Lagoon, everything from 1931 to 1956. are my favorites. And I decided just to show, I could have shown anything, but I decided to show the Frankenstein pack, for the Frankenstein
Cool.
films, and what can I say? I mean, these are the ones I grew up with. This is the reason I'm here doing this now. It's the reason I have a movie channel for horror, Mayo's Offbeat Movies, not just horror, but other stuff. It's because of these films: The Mummy, The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Ghost, The Mummy's Curse. But so that they all count as one, like you said, right? The Universal classics.
Mm-hmm.
However, I want to show you my favorite. There is one film in this that's my favorite film. And if
All right.
somebody said to me, Joe, what's your favorite horror film of all time? I have one of a Universal. It is not what you think. It is not Bride of Frankenstein. It is not Dracula. I have a poster for it that I got recently. It's not an original poster. The original poster would be $100,000. It's, oh boy.
Ah.
Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is my favorite horror movie of all time, and that's simply because I grew up with it. I was the right age on the right time at the right time when these played on television. Not at all the greatest horror film ever made. No way. However, I do get to say something here for Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney Jr. plays the Wolfman. It's his greatest role. It has Bela Lugosi as the Frankenstein monster. I covered all the biggies here. Karloff, Lugosi, Chaney Jr. Yeah, and I just love it. I love it. It's the world's first monster team up, Monster Mash. The first time more than one monster got together. And as you know, James, Freddy versus Jason was made many years later with Freddy and Krueger and Jason squaring off.
I
And
have that one too.
yeah, and King Kong versus Godzilla. All those. It started with this movie, Frankenstein and the Wolfman together. It's my favorite horror movie, not the best horror movie. And I noticed in the comments, Astro Zombie said, "What? No, the creature walks among us. The creature walks among us. Third film in the Creature from the Black Lagoon series is my favorite creature film. Yeah, I like the third one, The Creature Walks Among Us, the best of the Creature from the Black Lagoon trilogy. So there you go. There you go. I think I
So
said it
that's your
all.
number one. Cool.
Ooh, what
All
did I get
right.
here?
This is a no-brainer what mine is going to be. I bet everybody's going to guess this one right off the bat. And Joe, you showed it earlier. So this is my all-time favorite, number
I
one
lost the
film.
screen again. Oh boy, hold on. Something happened here. I lost the screen. I don't know. Something popped up here. I don't know what it is, and
Uh-oh.
I can't get rid of it. I can't see you, but I can hear you. All right, I did something. Okay, I see you now. Go ahead.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I see you now. Yeah.
All right. Can I have a drum roll, please?
Wait a minute. Well,
The Exorcist.
there you go. Why not? That's a good choice.
Oh yes, scariest movie of all time. Can creep you out anytime you watch this film. I just love this. This is the version you've never seen. It's not the same one that your Blu-ray is of.
Oh, no, well, they have both versions on the Blu-ray. They have the version you've never seen, and the that's called now it's now called the director's cut.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now it's but it's the same one that I have here, right?
yeah,
Okay. And the spider walk sequence creeped me out when I saw this in the theater all by myself. My
yeah.
dad didn't want to go because he'd seen it and he said it scared him. But I was brave. I went to see this on the big screen. But the first time I ever saw it was the theatrical version when I rented it back in the VHS days. And it scared the bejesus out of me. But I wasn't as scared as I thought it was a very interesting film, too.
Yeah, it's an interesting drama, a psychological film too.
But what I love about this cover is when they rebooted it to they remastered it in 4K, but this has Reagan on the front cover with her eyes going all white. I mean,
I don't like that cover.
this is the cover they should have went with the
Yeah, why do they
original.
do that? Yeah, they do that a lot.
This is the cover they should have went with because this is good. I gotta put this down because my arm's getting tired holding it up. So
Oh,
that's my number one. But hey, we kept it under an hour.
yeah,
But we'll talk a bit with the crowd now a little bit and
sure.
ask them what they think of everything that we showed. All right. So now, um, gonna go to our peanut gallery here and ask them what they thought was what they thought was one of the best things that we showed in all our top 10. So go for it.
And you, go
And
ahead.
I'm going to highlight some questions here because this one's for you.
I never got through the whole book of Frankenstein, the Mary Shelley classic. It's just boring. It's hard. It's a hard read. I like Bram Stoker's Dracula better to read than Frankenstein.
Yeah. So Captain says, I just watched the new Exorcist. It's really good. I don't know. I can't say it's good because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you could see it. You could see a review on my channel that I did. Again, I'm sorry if I keep sounding like. I mean, I am hawking my channel. Mayo's
No,
Offbeat
no, it's
Movies.
okay, Joe.
Yeah, I talked about it, and I didn't care for it. The new one, the
No.
new Exorcist.
Oh, speaking of chats and stuff, uh, wait. Can you say something in the chat, Joe? I gotta give you I gotta make you a mod.
Oh well, how
All
does
my
that work?
friends get to be mods in here.
Oh, I gotta check. Oh, I gotta type something. You mean?
Yeah, so I can
All right, let me do that.
so I can make you mod.
Okay, I'll just put in this one. How's that?
All right, that sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I hate the stupid hearts are in the way.
That happens, doesn't it? What is with that? Your hearts get in the way.
Oh crap! What
Oh,
did he do? Okay, now I'm gonna make you mod. Add as moderator. Okay. All right. Now you're a mod. Did you
all right.
accept it?
A modern, a rocker, a
Yeah.
mocker.
Yeah, you're a mod. You're a mocker. Have you seen Seven, James? Oh God, yeah, I saw that in the theater. Holy shit, that was gruesome, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, still never
Yeah.
seen it.
Oh, I don't even know if I should highlight this one, but I'm going to just to see Joe's reaction.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Well, I think that's sad. I think it's very sad. No offense, when people can laugh at a film like The Exorcist, the idea of a young, innocent, sweet girl being turned into something like that, and her mother's being distraught and completely devastated by what's happened to her daughter, and can't get help. To me, that's nothing funny. But I don't know.
Hi, me, Mr. Mail. That was a harsh timeout. Yes, it was, Lammy. Lamb, did you? You can time out Martin McGrath for doing that. Time him out.
What did I
If
miss? I missed something. I don't know.
no, Martin timed you out.
Martin McGrath timed me out.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, now you're a mod, so you won't be timed out anymore. That's why people have to do that. Lammy is my mug on the
Martin,
way.
you're really a sick man. You know that, right?
I like you, Martin, but please don't be timing anybody out my chat, okay? Please. I have to give you shit, but sorry, but my
Poor
rules.
guy.
Everybody has to respect everybody here, so don't play around like that, or I'll take your wrench away. I mean it.
Yeah, he shouldn't have a wrench. He might hurt himself.
Yeah, I might have to take his wrench away at some
No,
point.
don't go by me. I'm just saying, he might hurt himself with it.
I think I'm the same though. I can't suspend a disbelief, which also means I really enjoy the really shit 80s horror films like Shockma, Berserker, etc. The Team Romp horror films. Oh wow, Lammy. I don't even think I've heard of Shockma. Have you, Joe?
No.
Well, that's new to me. But I'm just going to grab something off my shelf because I have an honorable mention that I forgot to grab. Hold on, let me get it.
Oh, honorable mentions. I can have a lot of those. Honorable mentions. What do I do now to keep the stream going? Oh, there he's coming right back.
All right. Okay, I'll make myself big for this. So this is my honorable mention. This movie came out in 1992. It's a remake of the original. from 1942, which I've never seen, but I recorded it on Turner Classic Movies a few nights ago, so I still need to watch it. But this movie is gory, it's erotic, and Giorgio Moroder does all the music for it, which I think is fantastic. I also have the soundtrack for it on vinyl, which is over there. So my honorable mention is Cat
Yep.
People.
I thought that's where you were
Nat-
going. Yep.
Yeah, Natasha Kinski, Malcolm McDowell, great movie. So that's my honorable mention.
Yeah, I didn't really have any honorable mentions except at the beginning I had showed a few that I might, if I was considering them horror. Well, I did say The Exorcist because, once again, this really almost should be on my list. It's one of my favorite horror films. I just feel that right now, as of this day, today, I think I'm kind of like OD'd on this a little bit, but it is one of the greatest horror films in my book.
I got to upgrade. I got to upgrade to what you got there, the Blu-ray.
I think there's probably enough. Well, you saw the 4K one, and then of course other films like, well, I had Jaws. Some people think Jaws is a horror film. It has horror elements, but I don't consider it a straight out horror film at all. So, but otherwise, if it was, this would have been on the list. So
I hope you're not mad at me, Martin McGrath, but I run a tight ship here, and I just don't want people timing people out for no reason
and
like
when it
that.
says
Okay?
timing out, exactly what happens? The comments go disappear.
Yeah, he deleted your message when you said hello, so I
Oh,
could
that's no bit. Yeah, that
make
wasn't
you a
much of
mod.
a message, but okay.
Yeah, because people think when they have a wrench, they can go crazy with it.
Well, then I don't know why I let him stay on my thing, but that's not your problem here. I let him stay with all his abuse on my things over and over.
Yeah, all my friends get to be mods. Well, Doc's been a mod on here for a long time, but I haven't had Doc on my channel in a long, long time. So, hey, Mississippi Blues, how you doing? Yeah, but I had fun doing this today. This is
Oh
great.
yes, thanks for
Dave, are you
having me.
not working today? Because I'm surprised you've been here for a long time. The Changeling with George C. Scott was a very underrated film.
Hmm.
I don't think that I've only seen bits and pieces of that movie.
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
not
it a
sure if
long
you.
time ago, and then I remember it was good. I don't remember it very well, but I remember it was good. I like George C. Scott, so. And The
Now I got to
Exorcist
also
3 with
see.
George C. Scott, by the
Yeah,
way.
now I got to
Exorcist
see if
3.
now I got to see if Ginger Snaps is actually on Blu-ray because I really like that film a lot, and I hope you get to see it, Joe, because I'm dying to see your
Yeah,
critique on
well,
it.
I'm going to be showing a lot of things and reviewing a lot of things over there over different years for these crazy movies. So I'm sure I'll get to that.
And folks, stay tuned. Sooner or later, I'm gonna interview Joe because I'd like to do that. I've
Oh, cool.
mentioned it to Joe before
Right.
plenty of times, but I'd like to interview you as well if you're interested.
Sure.
I sorry I put you on the spot here, but I
Sure.
think it would be fun to do it because I'm really starting to like interviewing people, and the more I do it, the better I get. But you know what? I'm the only one that doesn't write down questions. If I know the person and I know their background, I know exactly what the questions I'm going to ask. It's going to be a little different because I'm used to asking like I'm used to talking to musicians and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, and my mom had a good time. That's my mom here.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, I'm glad my
Thank you.
mom was here to enjoy this because she's heard me talk so much about you and how amazing you are. I
Oh,
always
stop. Embarrassing.
you are Joe. You're an
Amazing.
amazing guy. You've
Woof.
always been nice to me, and you've always welcomed me into your streams. And when I can be up on the screen with you guys, I appreciate that because you know I have a good knowledge of stuff.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'm glad we did this today. So we're 48 minutes in, so I think we're going to shut this one down because I have to get ready to go over to the Lamb, and we kept it under an hour. Perfect.
Yeah. Well done.
So we'll have to do something like this again. Hey,
Yep.
Dusty. Wow, everybody's here today. Oh my God, all my friends are here. Wow, and some of your people are here too.
Yes, they are.
And thank you, Lamb, for being here. You're always supportive of me. I really appreciate that. And if you like Joe, sub to the Lamb and come join us there if you want to hear some good rock and roll.
Rock and roll, baby. You know me.
So sub to the Lamb and join us for his stream. And we do a duck race, and we're gonna have something called Lammy's Balls. You'll find out more about that. I'm gonna leave that a surprise. I
Wow.
know what it is. and he plays rock and roll. He plays a mean guitar. Yeah, and you might win a mug too,
Oh,
which I'm going to show you right now. I'll make myself big so you can see this. But I got mine for free because he said I'm a good friend. He gave it to me when I interviewed him. The Lamb Race Winners mug. So it's
okay.
got all the lambs on it. So that's my mug, which I keep up there. Hey, Jorgen, nice to see you. I'm
Yeah,
glad you're
Jorgen.
here. All right, so I will see you soon, Lamb. I'm going to jump over to your stream in a few minutes. And
Okay.
as I say in my channel, Beatles forever. See you on
Happy
the next one.
Halloween.
And happy Halloween, yes. Bye for now. See you on the next one.
Cheers.
End stream. And we are